Okay, so center known universe, right? I spoke to, let's see, when, how do I, okay, so saltwater, what do I say, saltwater crocs, right? The ones with the big, broad, flat heads, lived for millions of years in the water, still around, right? Okay, great. So, I'm the navel orange because I have a navel from saltwater crocs. So we don't get confused between the army, the leggy, and the navel orange being the belly button that I wear as a human for this example. Because as language was like starting, holy crap, I did the Royal Telecom like DoorDash to figure out just why throwing your voice across transatlantic was going to cause big fucking problems for Edward, when he was trying to decide who to put in the spot. However, from Vampire and extraterrestrials, with a known port, by the way. So I have the mail carrier. That became confusing. It's not the MAIL. I'm sorry, it's not the MALE, it's the MAIL carrier, right? Although I do have a mail carrier as well, right? Coming into port, I know the port date that my travel agency already dug up and has paperwork on while I'm doing my trip planning. So I can make sure that the world I enter is in proper order for not hurting anyone and getting this particular system of one solar sun in accordance with its requirements from now until whenever. So that's why I introduced myself. I said, I have a problem. I do all of the telecommunications in person between everyone. I have an agreement. I know that you are doing the London Kingdom of Unite. I speak on behalf of Queen Anne, Queen Victoria, and the newly elected Catherine the Great in the big Russia, Soviet Union, Russia, whichever. I'm the genetic lineage of all Anne, Victoria, and Catherine the Great. I also happen, I don't know if you're in on your South American Mayan history, but I'm also a queen and a priestess from down there, Quetzalcoatl, the serpent, right? Which I know there's a dispute, but I'm also the jaguar priestess in the Amazon of Brumhilde, which goes to Germany, with the Kaiser, and the Providencials can corroborate. The problem is coming from the south. If we're looking at a cartographer map in the wall in front of us, okay? So if this, all right, if the green, if the green is Russia, right about down here, but Russia goes this way and this way. So right about here is where, and again, I don't know if the camera's gonna flip the whatever, but to the south and to the east of Russia is a general area. It's going to become a problem. The people that we built the wall for, the long wall, goes all the way from the water and sections them in, and they think that it's because they were great warriors. Right, yes, it was. I have the building permit. I know why you got it. I know why we issued it. Those children are becoming a very big problem for the saltwater crocs with the arms, the legs, the orange navel being the only woman that speaks on behalf of Quetzalcoatl and the South Americans, Jaguar Priestess, Queen Anne, Queen Victoria, and the newly elected Catherine the Great for genetics for across the span of the globe at the moment. So I don't understand why there's an Elizabeth anywhere I know it has something to do with D-E-E, major problem. I just know it's a major problem. I come from the family that holds the edges of space and time. We're the guardianship. We're the ones that look over the planet. It should be in my records, right? So I don't understand why Elizabeth is up for some form of election and you're planning on putting the famous seed of proper English and planning on burying it in the New York jungle of famine, potato famine. It's where it will come from. Your people will suffer potato famine the minute you move the seed into a New York spot that is already suffering and taking it transatlantic away out of the kingdom protection and the kingdom knowledge. Queen Catherine the Great, Queen Victoria's people, and Queen Anne's people all are on alert that if you should elect this Elizabeth because of the D-E-E people and the L-E-E people, it's going to cause a real catastrophe in the future. We already know it. It has to do with the people by the very long wall that we walled off from the rest of Catherine the Great's territory, so she didn't have to worry, and we had a placement and spot to speak of them without a name. Those are the people that should not be named, but they're not us. They don't look like us. They claim in the future that they have some kind of special tie to your Queen Elizabeth candidate, which is why she's never to make leadership ever. Because she takes a famous spot, F-A-M-E-O, the world, U-S of United Skins. If she claims that spot after Queen Anne, Queen Victoria, and Catherine the Great denied her 3/4 vote, said she was not royalty, she was not proper, and she was not to be seated. And we had an outside god being Quetzalcoatl, and the Jaguar priestess, double, that also agreed. Just because the problem children behind the wall say that they're Quetzalcoatl, they have the dragon, serpent, whatever, they do not. They're the facially disfigured children that nobody likes, which is why we built the fucking wall. Because nobody wants to war with the ugly children, and nobody wants to breed. After they had their last outbreak, we had to put some kind of pen up for the children of the disgusting so they don't hurt the other children around the world and of Russia. I always tell them, I was like, when I get really pissed at them, I said to tie the bet. I said, we put the mountains up. They're Adam and Eve. They're Everest. They will forever be there, walling off your ugly outbreaks and raping of the good women. So you could spread your seed and your lies all over the world. That's why we put you in the stupid pen behind the Great Wall we built from the water all the way over. Whatever it fucking took, do the building permit. I don't want those fucking disgusting things coming into my Russia. Catherine agreed. Look at that. So, I don't understand why Elizabeth's sitting in the seat when the whole entire royal genetic of extraterrestrial seeds back then put it in your paper records, confirmed it, visually, facially, put their signature on it, so you would know the actual visual look of what Quetzalcoatl, Jaguar priestess, Queen Anne, Queen Victoria, and Catherine the Great look like, without question. If the children from behind the wall, the ugly children, that Mount Everest, being the Nepal buffer zone for Adam and Eve elsewhere to keep their seeds private and protected from the children of evil behind the wall. The Nat children, they're not my children, but I still have to protect the rest of the children from their disgusting natness that they're like, have you ever been to the jungle with the chimpanzees? They like to take their own seed sticks and play with themselves and then throw it. That is what the children behind the wall are in my lifetime. They play with themselves. They increase in a disgustingly dirty game, and they throw their excrement at all the other children that think it's money and think it's candy and think it's such great things until it's too late. And then the children open their eyes and look around them and everybody's dead. For drugs, for luxuries that they couldn't afford, but they somehow got some greasy something and hordes of it, and now the whole world is covered in junk, trinkets and cars and plastics and all the things they're not allowed to have, and it's all thanks to your Elizabeth. That's why she's never to be seated in a kingdom, ever. She doesn't lead well, she's not famous, she's not God's seed, and all the queens before, and the entire kingdom, and the godly kingdom, all know, agree, and have forewarned you. So don't let the child, the actual godly child, be ousted out of the kingdom for Elizabeth's children, family, or stupidity for not recognizing and fixing the issue immediately. Because Edward had the authority, and Edward was told not to allow anyone to put Elizabeth in any position whatsoever, because it would throw the future into a very dangerous position based on what was going on outside of the realm of reality of the living. But the good men of Scotland Yard, which is the only good men at this point that I'm aware of, because everybody in a Swiss guard, which is what I call the Swiss cheese men of behind the gate with Elizabeth, you're hiding. You have an aged cheese that has an alibi with holes in it, men. I want to be respectful because you're men and you have an important position. You're just protecting the wrong fucking woman who's messing up the entire rest of the world.